NBA playoffs, especially in the Western Conference Finals. Perhaps it's starting to heat up a little bit. The Mavericks get back in the series. They avoid the series sweep, defeating the Warriors last night in Game 4, 119 to 109. Now the series deficit is 3-1. They go back to San Francisco for a game Thursday night in the Bay. But here's the interesting thing about this Game 4. And obviously, I'm not going to make some big claim that, well, this is the manner and the style in which Dallas should have been playing since Game 1. Or that had they been playing this way since the beginning of the series, they wouldn't be down 3-1. Because I think that every single game reveals a little bit more, but it doesn't necessarily tell the entire story. They each just provide kind of a new piece to the puzzle to put this whole puzzle together. And I think that for Dallas, here's the interesting thing. I think through the first 3 games of this series, we've mistakenly identified how these two teams are similar. And more importantly, how these two teams can be similar. Because, and we being media, fans, whomever, because yesterday and last night's game actually revealed how these two teams, the Warriors and the Mavericks, can be similar. Not that they are, but how they can be similar. Because what we've done is we've made the comparison that the Mavericks, with their small ball and their ability to shoot from the three-point line in high volumes, that's how they are similar to the Golden State Warriors. But the problem is the Golden State Warriors are the greatest shooting backcourt ever. And we've grown so accustomed to their ability to shoot teams out of the building from the three-point line. But the reality is, what's made this Golden State Warriors team last for so long, what's allowed this candle not to burn out and for this dynasty to maintain, is not simply because of the Warriors' ability throughout the years to simply shoot teams out of the building from 3, which they have shown that they can do, but it's been their ability to actually score the 2-point shots, to score with ease inside the paint, to get all the way to the rim. That's where the Warriors have been so lethal. It's not simply the fact that, yes, they've got the greatest shooting backcourt in NBA history. That certainly helps stretch the floor, but they have always shined on the defensive end. They've been an elite defensive team, and they've always been able to break down opposing defenses, getting to the rim, finding themselves wide open for easy layups and cuts to the basket. And that's where I want to turn to when we look at this Dallas Mavericks team, because obviously when you look at the Warriors, you say, well, they've got, certainly they have the marksmen, but really they have a mobile artillery unit. They got 3 of them constantly in motion, with Curry, with Klay Thompson, and with Jordan Poole. But yet you look at their team, and the best 3-point shooter this postseason for the Warriors has been Andrew Wiggins, statistically, at 39.7%. And so you look at the fact that they've got all these marksmen, they've got Andrew Wiggins exploding, and in the first 3 games, you combined that with their defense, because the Warriors have had the second best opponent field goal percentage in the playoffs this year. That's what's propelled them to this lead. And so it's easy to simply look at the box score from last night and say, oh, well, for Dallas, it was as simple as they hit the 3-point shots. They hit 20 3-point shots last night, 47% from beyond the 3-point line. You had Dorian Finney-Smith contributing 23 points on 4 3-pointers. Reggie Bullock, 18 points on 6 of 10 from the 3-point line. Maxi Kleber was in double digits with 13 with two threes. So it's easy to say, well, those guys just hit 3-point shots, and that's why the Mavericks were able to win. Because that would be a flawed argument because when you look at game 2 at Golden State, the Mavericks hit 21 threes on also 47% from the three-point line and lost. So what's the difference? Well, to me, the difference in last night, and this is how it truly reveals the similarities between the Mavericks and the Warriors for that particular game, was that yes, Dallas was hitting the three-point shot, but they were playing harder defensively. And most importantly, they were breaking down the Warriors' defense and actually getting all the way to the rim. They were scoring inside the paint. They hit 21 two-point shots last night, which was the most two-point shots they've hit in the series in any game. And that's where they shared some similarities with Golden State. That's where they took a page from their success and they brought it over into the Big D, because in Dallas, that hasn't been how they've been able to win games. And yet last night, they were able to get into the paint. They finished all the way around the rim. And yes, in other games, we've seen Luka be able to drive, collapse the defense, kick it out to shooters, and they've missed shots. And certainly last night, they were capitalizing and making those shots, but they were also more willing to take two-point shots. It wasn't simply that they were living and dying by the three-point shot. And that's the big difference that we saw from the Mavericks last night. And now when you start to be able to score from all parts of the court, well, now you're much more willing to play harder defensively. Now your fan base can rally around you and get more behind your team and actually play or actually root for you. And that can perhaps keep the energy going a little bit longer. So that to me was the biggest difference. Obviously, they shared the basketball, 30 assists for Dallas. That's what they need to be able to do. So this was an absolutely methodical and strategic performance of how you can kind of tactically go at the Warriors and really just most teams in general, but especially for Dallas. And we obviously knew that the Warriors weren't simply going to get extinguished last night. They were going to put up a fight, and they did. But obviously the score isn't indicative of the dominance that Dallas showed. They ended up pulling away late. They got the job done. But it was because of their ability to break down the Warriors defensively and actually get all the way to the rim and score two-point shots. So I still think that the Warriors are going to win Game 5, and it's a shame that ultimately it took 4 games in the series for Dallas to kind of figure it out and to be able to execute enough at a high enough level for them to try to make this a series and bring it back to San Francisco. But I will say, and I think the Warriors will win Game 5, but I will say that I just love watching Luka and Dallas in this Western Conference Finals, in this stage, or on this stage rather. It's important to see the progression and the development of some of these younger players that are going to continue to be the faces of the league. And obviously I'm kind of relishing this chance to see the Warriors again on the verge of returning to the NBA Finals. What they've been able to do, I have so much appreciation for how they've been able to retool the last 2 years and still maintain this consistency and to be able to, again, be on the verge of returning to the NBA Finals 2 years after just utter disaster from an injury standpoint, really derailed them a couple years. It's amazing their ability to get back to the spot. But obviously, if the Mavericks can win Game 5, now this is going to be an interesting series, because then they're got to be feeling really good. The fact that they beat the Phoenix Suns Game 6 and 7 on the road to win that series. So the Warriors better take care of business in Game 5. Otherwise, we're going to have a series.